The Chapter 3 practice test, the first part is just identifying your terms and your like terms. So in number 1, all we do is we take apart each piece here and we say, okay, these are the different terms. So you have m, positive 3n, positive 6m, and we write them. Then we look at our terms and we say, okay, the only ones that are like terms are the m and the 6m. So we're going to write those. In number 2, you have a negative 2t, positive 3t squared, negative 10, negative 14t. So we're going to write all those terms. But our only set of like terms that we have are negative 2t and a negative 14t. Negative 3t squared does not have a like term with it, nor does the negative 10. In this last one, we have 5x squared, positive 7x, negative 3, positive 10x squared, negative 5x, negative 20. Those are all the different terms. So we have a bunch of different like terms in this one. We have 5x squared and 10x squared because they both have an x squared. We have a 7x and a negative 5x because they both have just an x. And we also have the negative 3 and negative 20. So those are all the different sets of like terms in here. We could combine them if we wanted to. This next part is finding your sum or difference. So in number 4, there's nothing to distribute in the first section. So I'm just going to drop down my 3 and my negative 7m. So my 3 and my negative 7m. In the second piece here, I have a positive 2 that needs to be distributed to both terms. So I take positive 2 times 3.5m and I get 7m. Positive 2 times positive 1 and I get a positive 2. Then I look at this and I say, okay, which ones are my like terms? Well, the 3 and the 2 are like terms. And then the negative 7m and positive 7m are like terms. Negative 7m and positive 7m give me 0m. So we don't ever write that. We just kind of cross them out. They're gone. So we have a 3 and a positive 2 to get the positive 5. In this next one, we have nothing to distribute out here. So we have 8 minus 6y. Nothing to distribute in the second half either. So we drop the parentheses and we have 10y minus 25, or negative 25, excuse me. So we circle our like terms. So we have an 8 and a negative 25 that are alike. Put them together, you get the negative 17. We have a negative 6y and a positive 10y. Put those together and you'll get the negative, I lied, you'll get 4y, positive 4y. So your final answer on that one is the 4y minus 17. So on this next one here, you have a negative 8 that you're distributing to both terms. There's nothing to distribute out here, so you'll keep it as 4a and negative 5. Negative 8 times negative 2.5 gives you a positive 20a. Negative 8 times positive 3 gives you a negative 24. So when I look and I combine my like terms, I have the 4a and the positive 20a. Put them together, you get 24a. Negative 5, negative 29. Put them together, or excuse me, negative 5, negative 24. You put them together, you get negative 29. In this last one, the only piece I can distribute is the negative sign to both terms. So it becomes negative 2w right here. Negative times negative 1 gives me a positive 1. This first set has nothing, so I just drop them down as 7w and positive 4. I look at my like terms. I have a 7w and a negative 2w. Put together, you get 5w. I have a positive 4 and a positive 1. Put together, you get positive 5. This next set here is factoring out, it says the coefficient, but it should say the GCF of the variable. So you look at both your numbers and you say, okay, what number goes into both 6 and 24? It's the number 6. So when we learn this, it's like reverse distributive property. You divide out the 6 out of both terms. So it becomes 6 times the quantity of x plus 4, because it's a positive 4. This one, remember, the first term in your parentheses can't be negative. So I'm going to divide out the negative 5 out of both terms. So I factor out the negative 5, and then it becomes negative 5 times the quantity of x plus 7. Because when you take a negative 35 divided by negative 5, it gives you that positive 7. On the back side of the worksheet, when you write an expression that represents the perimeter of the polygon, and then you simplify that expression, that direction should say that, you just add all the sides. You add up all the sides here. So I started with 2x, and then I did 2x plus 3x minus and negative 1 plus x and positive 5 plus 3x plus 2x and a positive 4. So I went through and I identified the like terms. So I had the 2x, the 3x, the positive x, the 3x, and the 2x. Put all those together, get 11x. And then I had -1, positive 5, positive 4. So a -1 and positive 5 is a positive 4. Positive 4 and positive 4 gives me that positive 8. So I wrote it like that. These last set are different now because these are equations. Everything we've been looking at have been expressions. You see it in the directions? They've been expressions, so there's no equal signs. So it's only combining like terms. This last set, these are equations, so these you can solve. So in numbers 11, 12, 13, and 14, these are all just one-step equations right here, or just one step. Okay, it'll take one step to get to the answer. It'll take one step to isolate your variable. These here then are multi-steps, these last two. Okay, so if you need help, you can identify those videos that are posted in the same section this video is. Okay, so in number 11, you have y, and then a positive 14.6 equals negative 31.7. So to get the y by itself, because this is the side that we're looking at, you have a positive 14.6, so give both sides a negative 14.6. So that's gone, and you'll have y equals negative 46.35, negative 31.75, and a negative 14.6, making negative 46.35. In number 12, we're looking at this side again. To isolate your variable, you have a negative 5/8 by it, so give it a positive 5/8 on both sides. You have to actually do what you're saying on the right side as well. So you have to actually take negative 1/4 and add 5/8 to it because it's positive. So you'll get m equals 3/8. In this one, you have this expression piece here. You have x divided by 6.2. So the opposite of dividing by 6.2 is to multiply both sides by 6.2. So times 6.2 and times 6.2. So if you're dividing by 6.2 and then timesing, it's going to get rid of it. So you're left with just x. And then negative 2.1 times 6.2 is negative 13.02. In number 14, you have, here's your variable on this side, you have 8h equals negative 128. So it's 8 times h. The inverse is to divide by 8. So you'll isolate and you'll get your h by itself. And then 128 divided by 8 is negative 6. For these last two problems, you have to look for any like terms and any distributive property. So in number 15, we have two like terms. So you're going to combine them. You have a positive 5x and a negative 8x. Put them together, you get negative 3x. And then drop down your 15. Divide both sides by negative 3, and you're going to get x equals negative 5. In this one, you have distributive property first. So 3 times x and 3 times 1. So you're going to get 3x plus 1, or excuse me, 3x plus 3 equals negative 24. Give both sides, now we have a two-step equation right here. So give both sides a negative 3 and negative 3. So you get 3x equals negative 27. Divide by 3, and then you'll get x equals negative 9.